Hello everybody, welcome to this Verbling class. My name is Amy and today's class is a speaking class for intermediate to advanced learners. So if you'd like to come in and practice your speaking, today our topic is right and wrong. So what we're going to be talking about is what we think about this. Is there such thing as right and wrong? Some of the questions that we're going to be looking at include what is your opinion about right or wrong? We're going to look at some quotes. Have you changed your opinion about this since you were a child? What were you taught when you were a child, and what do you believe now? So it's going to be an interesting topic to challenge your English, but also to maybe help you learn some new vocab, to stretch your grammar a little bit. So come along to practice your speaking. I'll help you and correct you, and hopefully you can make a little bit of progress with your speaking today. So, before we get started, I just want to tell you about two pages that you can look at in your spare time here on Verbling. The first one is the Verbling Teacher Facebook page. If you'd like to follow any of the teachers on Facebook, then you can just go ahead to their Facebook pages and click on follow, as you do with Facebook pages in general. And you'll see that the teachers share their classes, various things that go on Verbling, maybe some useful things that they come across. And you can also chat to other students or comment, etc., just like Facebook. And the Verbling Teacher page is the second of those two links there. You can go ahead and have a look at the teacher pages if you want to find out a little bit more about one of the teachers. So who we are, when our classes are. If you're interested in attending any more classes with a particular teacher, then you can find them there on the Verbling Teacher page. And you can also have a look at the calendar if you want to get onto Verbling for private tutoring, one-on-one sessions with the teacher. Have a look at the teacher page to find their calendar. If you have any questions at all, do feel free to get in touch with us via the messaging feature, which is also there, accessible by the second link in the chat box. So, let's say hi. Who do we have to talk about right and wrong? First of all, Sergio. Hello.
Hello, Em. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Excellent. It's great to meet you. Where are you from, Sergio?
I'm from Brazil.
All right. Which part of Brazil?
I live in Rio.
You live in Rio, okay. And why are you studying English?
I've been studying English for business, for traveling, for... Yes, I love learn a language, and the English make part of this.
Okay, lots of different reasons, but that sounds good. Well, welcome to the class. It's great to meet you and have you here today when we talk about right and wrong. Quite a deep subject today, guys, so have a think about it. I won't leave you totally in the lurch, don't worry. We've got quite a few little quotes and things that are going to help us guide the conversation a little bit, so you're not going to have to philosophize too much. Who came second? I think it was Greg. Hello, Greg.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you doing today? I can't hear you, sorry, Greg. Can you repeat? What did you say?
I just no, but it's not me.
Ah, okay. It maybe isn't. Guys, if you can just make sure you're muted unless you're actually speaking, please, because it does make it much easier. All right, Greg, I think we've muted everybody else now. So tell me, how are you today? What's your day been like?
Nothing special happened. Just typical day. Spending time in the city center, trying to find a new job, and they told me that 50 miles, and
Oh, Greg, that sounds like a pretty bad day to me.
Yeah, I know. But this is not the first time what I had for the last couple of weeks, so I think I try to accustomize in some ways.
Get used to it. You're trying to get used to it.
Get used to it.
Oh, well, good luck with that. I know it's so just tough finding a job sometimes. Remind me, are you in Poland? Where are you? You're in Hull.
Yes, I'm in Hull right now.
That's right. Oh, good luck, Greg. Good luck. What kind of job are you looking for?
I was working in the factory, so I'm thinking that we'll get stuck in the factory, but to be honest, I don't know if it makes sense because right now there's a couple of days to have a chance, to enroll on IELTS preparation tests. So they told me 3 months, it will be okay. I will make from this what I call English and which I use and speak, and maybe I will go higher to academic English. And I'm thinking, oh my God, 3 months, quite unrealistic.
Well, you never know. If you work hard, you can achieve a lot. So, yeah. All right. Well, it sounds like you've got some kind of a plan, which is great. So,
Yeah,
good luck with it.
thank you.
Welcome to the class. Carolina, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Have you had a good day? Anything special happen to you today?
No, just much work. I'm tired, but I'm good.
All right. Well, a busy day can sometimes be good. At least you aren't bored.
Well,
Welcome, Carolina. Good to have you. Raphael, how are you today?
Hello, Amy. I am great.
Any particular reason?
Yes. I received a great news today. I obtained a certification. I was preparing for 6 months, and I finally passed the test. And I am
Yay.
really excited about it. And it's really, uh, it's been, it's awesome because I've worked so hard to obtain certification, and I'm really happy about it.
Well done. That's awesome news, Raphael. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you?
Well, it's 11:07 a.m. and so far I've just worked. So my day's been kind of average. Just normal. Okay, not bad. All right. Welcome to the class. And Alejandro, hello.
Hello, teacher. How's it
How are
going?
you? Good, thank you. How about you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Good. And what have you done today, Alejandro? Anything exciting?
No, it's very hot today.
All right. So you've tried to relax a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. The weather should be starting to get cooler there soon, shouldn't it? When does it start to get really cool? Maybe the beginning of October?
I prefer winter.
You prefer winter. I don't blame you, Alejandro. Spain is hot. I completely agree. Well, welcome to the class. All right, guys. So we've got a kind of a deep topic today, but we've got things to help us talk about this. I'm going to start you guys off with a quote, okay, which I'm going to put into the chat box because I think it's an interesting one. And it's in the Verbling chat, but I'll maybe put it in both in case there's some of you who can't access it. So I'm going to get Sergio, could you read the quote that you can see there, please? Don't forget to unmute your microphone.
Yeah. Without evil, there could be not good. So it must be good to be evil sometimes.
All right. I'm going to read it one more time because it's a little bit of a tongue twister, right? So this is what it says. Without evil, there could be no good. So it must be good to be evil sometimes. I was researching for this class and I read that and I thought, interesting theory. I wonder what the students are going to think. So I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to ask Carolina to start us off. Carolina, what do you think of that quote? Is it a load of rubbish? Is it true?
I don't know if it's necessary to evil exists. I think evil exists when there are no good, when people just think in themselves and don't think in another. But I would like to think that evil doesn't have to exist.
Okay, that's a nice start to the class. I think the problem comes, well, the first problem I see is that how do you define good and evil in the first place? I think there are some things that are quite obviously bad, right? And there are some things that are quite obviously good, but there's a huge amount that's in between. And whether you classify it as good or bad seems to depend on you, your culture, your religion, the country you live in, how old you are, what you've learned at school, a million different things. So let's see what Greg says about this. Greg, what do you think of the quote?
Actually, I'm never really thinking about coexistence, evil and good. What I think, and it is not really my thought about it, is that we are all human beings, and in this case, we have in us there are two parts: the good one and the bad one. And actually, at the end of the life, one of them will just take over. If you just think about what was happened during our life, or maybe we just didn't have a chance, maybe it will be, I don't know, somewhere else. But I don't know, it's quite strange because I have, my own opinion about it. I just didn't think. I believe that if there's, for example, the evil doesn't exist. Well, in this case, that will be everything good. If otherwise, if there will be everything will be what we call the evil. Well, there will be the evil. But in this case, there's something in us. It's typical phrase, but I don't know. I don't see too much sense to think about it.
All right. I like what you've just said, Greg. So you've brought it sort of right back to the individual, right? Which is what's inside of us. And I think I have to say, in my experience, there's definitely parts of me that are not that great. Things I think, or maybe things I do, or perhaps things I used to do and I've changed because I realized how awful they were. I don't know. But what did you say was interesting about at the end of our lives? Can you tell me that again, Greg? What did you say?
At the end of the lives, there will be, something what we call, maybe someone will be a judge, maybe there's a calculation of our deeds in this case. There will be, there will be probably no balance between them. So if, that depends what we did by the whole life. If that was the good action or it was bad action, it just one of them will be, for us, for someone else, more important, and that is actually what I think about it.
Okay, thank you. A very interesting point of view. All right, let's see what Sergio has to say. So Sergio, we're still focusing a little bit on the quote, but feel free to respond to anything that Carolina or Greg have said as well, if you like. What's your initial impression when you read this quote?
I think I never thought about it, but I think this is important for our development as men, like a woman and men, and maybe if we haven't evil, maybe we don't should not improve ourselves as a person. Maybe just living without maybe concern, or maybe getting better day by day. I think this is important thing. Yeah. Not, of course, depends of the the evil you are talking about. But in general, I think it's yes. It's like the opposite. The opposite. Yeah, maybe it's is
Okay.
there's something you have to thinking and maybe oh yeah, I need to be better and this that different scenarios, different things.
Yeah, I think you've brought up a very interesting point, which almost agrees with the quote, right? If you think about what you just said, the fact is that because evil exists, or maybe not evil, I'm not sure what to call it, wrong, bad stuff, whatever, it sort of gives us an incentive. I think incentive is the word that you might be looking for there, Sergio. Something to encourage us to improve, right? So in
Yeah.
that way, you're right. I think in that way, having bad things around is probably good because it makes us improve, it makes us better. It's a big incentive to do something to maybe positively impact our world, our lives, our personality, whatever. Interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Raphael, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the good and the bad complete themselves.
Hmm.
Uh, I think the lights complete the darkness. Maybe we, I don't know. Maybe the yin and yang complete themselves. So I don't know. We are just like leaves which go through the huge river that is the universe. We don't know, as you explain, one of you explained. Uh, there are different perspectives in which we are up to. We need to decide what is good and what is bad.
Hmm.
Maybe something is good for me is not good for you, and vice versa.
Yep.
So I think there must be a balance in everything. Uh, I think we as human beings need to at least try a little bit of both experiences, good and bad experiences. It's part of the learning process of life. It's part of our uh, it's part of the process of living, and I think we need to try uh, everything it's new and learn about it, even if it's good or bad.
Okay, very interesting, Raphael. What springs to mind when you're talking about that, though, is um, I I guess you're leaving out the extremes of those two, or at least the extreme of the wrong, evil, bad point of view, because um, I'm guessing what you really mean is that in our sort of general lives there are various shades of good, bad, and it depends on our perspective what we categorize. But I personally feel there are some extremes which I don't think you can really say are in any way good. I'm thinking about, like, I don't know, war or chemical warfare or the Holocaust or something like that. What's your perspective on those big, big, awful, terrible events?
As I said, it's learning.
Okay.
We don't have to experience all these things to know how it is, how they are. But uh, you need to learn without mistakes,
Mhm.
and not only without mistakes, but with other mistakes also.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my point of view.
All right. So in that way, in from that point of view, even those huge, huge, terrible events are valuable still in some way because we can learn from them, or hopefully not
Absolutely.
repeat them, right? That's
Yes.
interesting you should bring that up because I was actually talking about that with another student today who visited Budapest in the holiday and went to a museum where she saw lots of terrible things, and we were discussing, the concentration camp Auschwitz, which is probably one of the worst places to go in the world. However, it's also maybe a very valuable place to go because it really shows you the extent of what humans are capable of in a terrible way, and helps you to maybe work towards never doing that again. So, good point, Rafael. Okay, let's see what Alejandro says. Alejandro, what do you think about the quote?
I think people who like evil or doing something bad,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a little conscience.
So they don't have much conscience. Mm.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then
And
they do things like that, kill, steal,
mhm.
because they haven't conscience.
All right, interesting point, Alejandro. The idea of a conscience. Have you guys seen the film Pinocchio? No? I'm sure you must have heard of it. I'm pronouncing it in a very British way. Forgive me, because I'm sure it's Italian. But it's about a little wooden boy who tells lies and his nose grows.
Pinocchio.
Yes.
Yeah? And whenever somebody mentions the word conscience, I always think of that film straight away because there's Jiminy Cricket is his name, a little character who's like Pinocchio's friend, and he sings this song, "Always let your conscience be your guide," and I think it will never leave me, honestly, from when I was little. And I didn't really understand what a conscience was till I got older. But do you think there are people out there with no conscience? What do you guys reckon? I'll ask Carolina.
What?
Do you understand what when we talk about conscience, what we mean?
Yes.
Do you think, as Alejandro was saying, people who do bad stuff don't have very much conscience? Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. Because sometimes happen some things that you not understand how this person or these people were uh, able to do that.
Yep.
And I think this person didn't have a conscience, but sometimes this person had a conscience too,
Mm-hmm.
but he or she is bad and decided to do that thing. It is, and thinking that way is very sad to think that a person this way could exist. So I think depends on the issue, depends on the case, but sometimes people don't have a conscience, but in other case have a conscience, but decide to do something wrong in the same way
Okay.
and don't care about it or anything or anyone.
So it's a difficult thing to talk about, I know, because it's not really tangible, is it? It's sort of defined. I just looked up in the dictionary to get a real specific definition so that you guys can understand it clearly, which is in the chat box. It says a person's moral sense of right or wrong, viewed as acting to guide their behavior. So in Pinocchio, it's this little cricket who kind of tells him, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this," and it's some kind of metaphor for his subconscious, I guess. But Carolina reckons that sometimes we listen to our conscience and sometimes we don't, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Sergio, what do you think? Do you agree with Carolina?
Yeah, I agree with her. I think for those people that decide make consciously decide make something bad, yes, they do this just because I don't know, maybe they feel better, feel good when they decide make something bad. Unfortunately, because that's it's the opposite for I think the most of the person in the world. I believe in that they decide to do the good things and feel better, feel good when yes to do this thing and
Okay.
help and something like that.
Um, Interesting point, Sergio. I was just thinking while you were speaking that it's probably, I don't know what you guys think about this. Do you think it's only our conscience that either allows us or prevents us from doing something, or do you think it's something else as well? Maybe our bringing, worrying what people would think, society. Do you think conscience is the strongest of those? Do you think it plays an insignificant role? I'll ask Greg what he thinks about this.
The consciousness. Well, I well, I think what we think what actually creates the consciousness is when we are a kid, we are shaped by the rules of our parents, our religion, but it is actually a fact when we are maybe 15, 16, maybe a couple years, I don't know, 18. It is what we observe for our short life. We actually have in our, maybe not in our hands, but we have in our head own codex of specific rules.
Mm-hmm.
And we start thinking about life about in this way. We are conscious about many things that we saw and will see or will experience. But at the same time, when we have own codex of rules and we have goals, we'll just simplify. We see goals, and sometimes maybe to achieve it, we won't do it the right thing. Maybe you do the bad thing. So if we will be aware of that, sometimes it doesn't matter because people want to achieve it. So if we don't do many great stuff to achieve it, that's fine. That would be great. It's better. Definitely better. There's no discussion here. So when I'm thinking about the politician who, for example, one group, or maybe lawyers, who are making chaotic, about their chaotic action, who just had a couple of other things, couple of many other people to make the right couple of maybe one or two different things. They're probably aware of this, of their own action. But, consciousness actually what is great. It is our life experience, our codex of rules, and this is one of the elements that help to shape our lives.
Very nice, Greg. What an insightful person. I just wanted to make the distinction because you were talking a little bit there about consciousness as well. And there's a difference between consciousness and conscience, right?
Yeah.
So consciousness is like awareness, and your conscience is more like the feeling you have about what's going on, sort of. So just to make that distinction for anybody who's watching.
Okay.
Did you want to add something?
No, I think maybe someone will add something else.
Let's see what Raphael thinks. I'm going to ask him a slightly different question. Raphael, do you have a strong conscience? Do you find this little voice in your head going, no, I can't do that, if you want to do something bad? Or do you have a weak conscience, maybe?
What do you mean about weak conscience and strong conscience? I didn't understand properly.
All right. Well, before when we were talking about, so Alejandro brought up the fact that basically, if somebody does something bad, it could be because they don't have very much conscience. They don't have a very strong sense of morality within themselves. What they should do, what they shouldn't do, according to what's right and wrong in humanity. So you yourself, when you ask yourself, do you have a strong sense inside you of what something is right and what is wrong? What would you say?
Well, I have my base of thinking. I know what is right or wrong, considering what I consider best for me and for who surrounds me. And I try to respect my rights and other people's rights. I try to. I think consciousness is a kind of brain faculty which everyone has developed in some level.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can have it developed, and some people don't. I think I think it can be part of our DNA. It's something which we were born with, but it can be developed throughout our lives, and according with several other aspects like education and other aspects you already mentioned in the class,
Mm-hmm.
country, culture, and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, luckily I had a good education of my family, and I was taught about important aspects of living in community and respect for people's rights, and do my best to improve them.
All right.
So it's relative. It's relative to talk about it. I can speak for an hour just about it, but no, there's time issues.
No, but you've done very well. Great answer. Okay. What I want to bring up now, guys, is that we are all adults and we all have a much better understanding of the world. And, okay, we're not perfect. We don't have a total understanding of everything. But compared to when we were children, we do. Do you remember what you felt about right or wrong when you were a child? What did your parents teach you? What did you learn from church or maybe another religion or your peers? And has it changed a lot since you have become an adult and seen things differently? So let's see what Alejandro says. Alejandro, have you changed your opinion about right or wrong since you were a child, do you think?
If you grew up with love, you'll have conscience. But if you grew up with hate, you'll you'll be like evil. When I was a child, my parents taught me
Mm-hmm.
The difference, and I learned something. I learned the difference between bad or good.
Okay. So your parents influenced you a lot.
Yes, of course.
And
They are your first teachers.
nice point. Um, how about other influences, Alejandro? Was there anything else that influenced you? Did you, for example, go to church? Were you religious? Did your friends or perhaps other family members have an impact on you?
I like Jesus Christ, but I don't practice any religion.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of example, in your opinion, does Jesus Christ give of this topic? Why is he somebody who you like or think highly of? Do you have
An
any?
example.
Hmm.
There are many examples, but I like when he was in the temple and he um, he fought with the um, sorry,
You're doing
I
great,
don't have
Alejandro. Keep
vocabulary.
going. Keep
Oh,
going.
I I don't have much vocabulary.
You're
Well,
doing great.
there are a lot of parables,
Hmm.
parables,
Yep.
which I like.
I
Yeah,
think the one you were referring to is the one where Jesus gets angry with
uh,
people selling, and
yes,
is that right? The
yes.
market outside the temple. So
Uh,
you can call them market sellers simply, okay?
hmm.
Or perhaps money lenders. I believe they were in the story as well. All right. Thanks, Alejandro. Um, let's see what Sergio has to say about this. Sergio, what were your greatest influences when you were a child? Do you remember having a sense of what was right and wrong?
Yeah, I think so. I think not only for me, but for I think for most or all children. It depends how much you are exposed. You were exposed in different cultures, in different times. If you grow up in a bad family or in not really, you didn't have a good education.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I think it's can be the result for bad things, bad persons nowadays. In my case, really have a good education from my parents, and my parents had a care about where I think to go.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided to went with my friends, they already always ask me and wanna know what kind of person I was living or spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yes, I think, for example, when I was a child, I think the politics is a good, like, maybe when I grow, I become a politic. But that, and nowadays, especially here, I think this is the worst thing you can do, because even if you think like positive, you're going thinking, oh, when I go there, I wanna change something. That's
Mm-hmm.
I think is impossible now. Maybe in the future it can be changed, but I'm not really sure about what.
Okay. So interesting point, Sergio. I think you mean politician. I think you mean politician because that's the
Politician.
person. Politics is the subject. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's I think some maybe an experience a lot of people have had, and it makes me sad, right? Because politicians have become this kind of like evil, corrupt. Nobody respects them. In actual fact, they are really the ones who determine what happens, the way our government moves, a lot about what happens in our countries, and it seems really sad that it's got so I don't know, it's sort of like a game. It seems like just a big game to me now, and I totally understand what you mean, Sergio. I wouldn't want to be a politician myself, although I do feel strongly about lots of issues. Maybe it's time we need to sort that out. I don't know. All right, Raphael, tell us.
Can I add something to it?
Sure, Greg?
If we think about the politicians, actually, if they are not the part, if they are some kind of, they are, they are not a part of politics, and when just go to this world and are influenced by many other things, they have own knowledge, or experience, or education, and actually when it is mixed, and when they hear their colleagues who say different things and actually thinks about actually say one thing, but actually they do different things. They look at it, and what I see in their speeches that become as cynics.
Mm.
So it has one of the things because it is really hard to be in this position because to be part of the political world, because when they become a part of this, they become more helpful for them in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surrounded by many these different, maybe complex in their personality people, because that are usually not a simple people. If they are, we will watch on television what they do, and we laugh.
I think that's certainly universal. Yes, Greg. All right. Who was I going to go to next? Raphael, then I'll come to you, Carolina. Raphael, what were your biggest influences when you were younger? And have you changed your mind about things?
About good and evil?
Yes. Or maybe on a smaller scale, right and wrong, what you should do, what you shouldn't do.
Well, in my childhood, Superman, good. Lex Luthor, evil. Batman, good. The Joker, evil. So, because that's I don't know. Watching TV was was my first source of information, in which I was able to I don't know, catch some values about right or wrong, because I was raised by my mother, and she didn't have time to teach me these values. So I think I went with the flow, like some people say about it. I think some knowledge came naturally, and I started reading a lot, understanding what's going on in my behavior, what went on in my behavior, and not behavior, surrounding me, and I don't know, I'm a great listener. I try to gather information, the most information I could of the environment. And I make my decisions about what is right and wrong. I had some friends who, unfortunately, they come to the wrong side. Some of them are in jail right now, or some others are dead. I don't know. Maybe they have another perspective of life, or they didn't have the same opportunities to know, to learn what I learned
Mhm.
so far. But I think unfortunately, it's out of my capabilities to change what's going on surrounding me. Uh, I don't know. I think we need to have wisdom to, if you can't change what surrounds you, what you think is going, what you think it's wrong, you need to at least have you need to have wisdom to accept it and
Mhm.
avoid it if you can.
Mhm.
So, but it's only I only learned these things throughout my not only my childhood but also my youth, and I'm still learning. We're always learning until our death, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings to mind another point, Raphael, that um, I think that we sometimes underestimate the power that we actually have. I think, yes, when you look at all those problems and everything, it seems a bit impossible. But what you just talked about there, having wisdom and just facing the situations that you come across in the only way that you can, um, I think people see that, people who know you, maybe not even people who know you, maybe random people, passing people, maybe people in your family, your friends, kids. I think that we have a much greater impact on some people than we realize. Because if you think back, especially when you're younger, but I still do this, I still look at other people and think, wow, that was an awesome thing to do. If I see somebody doing something, or I hear about a way that somebody's reacted in a great way, it influences me and it inspires me to do the same. And I think that's one really powerful way that you can actually make a difference. You may not see the difference, and it might take 100 years, but I think it's still making some kind of a difference. So I try to remind myself of that when I think, I'm just going to try and do the right thing in this situation, and you never really know how it's affecting other people. Just crosses my mind. Carolina, what were your influences when you were younger?
Mm, I think we hand down somehow the thoughts and beliefs of our parents.
Mhm.
And in my childhood, I had the strong the present of my parents was very strong during
Mhm.
my childhood, and I think there are so many of them in me today.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when I got older, I learned other things, and I think today I mixed these values, these thoughts with my life, with
Mhm.
I learned during my life, my experience of life. So I think we are a result of this, of all this stuffs in our
Mhm.
lives.
Okay, so we're very deeply affected by what surrounds us.
Yes, definitely the environment um, influences our
Mhm.
lives because
Interesting.
the school, your friends, your parents, your brothers and sisters. So you can run away from this.
All right. So it brings me straight to the next point, which is perfect. Thank you, Carolina. And we've just got a few more minutes left, but I do want to ask one more question. I think there's no getting away from the fact that things influence us. But do you think that that is the only thing that determines how we turn out or whether we make good or bad decisions? Do you think that it is possible, despite a huge bad influence, the worst upbringing that you've ever heard of, to still become a good person? Is it possible? Or are we
Yes,
yeah?
I believe because we we see, we read on. I used to read on the news many examples of people that was raised in families with all kind of problems,
Mhm.
and the children are good children. They are very smart. They study. So I think that that is possible. I don't know how, but I think uh, maybe that happens because they have a strong goodwill to do things worth in their lives.
Mhm. Okay, great answer, Carolina. So my last question for you guys really is that is it sometimes important to completely disregard or rebel against what most other people think should be done or shouldn't be done? When are those times? Is there ever a time when it's important that you have to rebel? And if so, when is that time? Does anyone want to answer that?
I think it is actually one moment when we have a deeper knowledge about something. We are not in a situation that we know some random opinions. We have actually maybe we heard a lot of opinions, and based on that, we create our own opinion about some things. Yeah, there's one couple of things when actually I was conflicted with some cousins, with some uncles, because that's actually about politics, and 10 years later I hear, you are right, I don't know why. So, if this is the right moment, bad moment, I don't know. Actually, when we argue with someone, when someone with us doesn't agree, or we doesn't agree with them, actually this is the situation that we share opinion each other, and later we'll see what will happen. So there's not really a right moment. There's one thing which could be, for example, have a strong, could be more important than the others, and it is such shocking for us that later we'll just see what will happen, and we'll see if the people change their minds or they not.
Mhm.
That's
Okay, good point, Greg. Sergio, what do you think?
Well, I think there is a time when, for the time you have to rebel, to be rebel, but even we become rebel, but always in a good way. You have to be conscious about uh, when you think to do something in a different way, maybe in a rebel, because you have to be okay. I think like strike, for example, we can use this right, like an employee or like you work for government, something like that. Yes, you can be rebel, but you can't destroy or can't like kill somebody.
Mhm.
That's something I totally disagree with.
Okay, so basically there are limits. You can rebel, but there are
Yeah,
limits, or there's
yeah.
at least ways that you should do it fairly, peacefully. Yeah, good point. I agree 100% with that. Would anyone else like to make a comment about this one?
I think rebel is a strong word. I think I would like to replace it to find a wiser solution for something, or maybe to to find a way out to to problems, from problems, or at least, as I said, if we're not able to change people, at least to try to understand them, understand their point of view, to understand their sides, understand their sides of the things, or maybe at least uh, at least accept what you can't change.
Mhm.
Despite all these things, you need to set your basis. You need to set your structure, or not structure, but set your
Boundaries,
boundaries or limits or
foundation.
forgotten words, foundations or your things your beliefs.
Okay.
Set your
Maybe
things.
you mean fundamental beliefs.
Yes, better.
Mhm.
And living according to it, regardless of people, regardless of who surrounds you, regardless of influences who might disrupt your way of living. You
Mhm.
need to set your basis and follow it, no matter what happens.
Okay. I really like that, Raphael. That's kind of inspiring. So really you should think about, maybe you've never thought about it before, but think about what your fundamental beliefs are and stick to them. Even if you have influences from, well, you will have influences from everywhere in life. But that's a great point. Thank you. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this up now. I have another class after this if you'd like to practice some writing. We're going to be writing about noises today. So do come along and join me. If you want to practice some creative writing, you can kind of go crazy, inspired by sounds that you either love or hate. Otherwise, I hope you all have a really great evening. Well done for some excellent speaking, and don't forget to have a look at the chat box where I have been making some comments throughout the discussion today. Take care, everybody. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Amy.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Have you had a good day? Anything special happened to you today?
No, just much work. I'm tired, but I'm good.
All right. Well, a busy day can sometimes be good. At least you aren't bored.
Well,
Welcome, Carolina. Good to have you. Raphael, how are you today?
Hello, Amy. I am great.
Any particular reason?
Yes, I received a great news today. I obtained a certification. I was preparing for 6 months, and I finally passed the test. And I'm
Yay.
really excited about it. And it's really, uh, it's awesome because I've worked so hard to obtain the certification, and I'm really happy about it.
Well done. That's awesome news, Raphael. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you?
Well, it's 11:07 a.m. and so far I've just worked. So my day's been kind of average. Just normal. Okay, not bad. All right. Welcome to the class. And Alejandro, hello.
Hello, teacher. How's it going?
Learn a language and the English make part of this.
Okay, lots of different reasons, but that sounds good. Well, welcome to the class. It's great to meet you and have you here today when we talk about right and wrong. Quite a deep subject today, guys, so have a think about it. I won't leave you totally in the lurch, don't worry. We've got quite a few little quotes and things that are going to help us guide the conversation a little bit, so you're not going to have to philosophize too much. Who came second? I think it was Greg. Hello, Greg.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
I can't hear you, sorry, Greg. Can you repeat? What did you say?
I just no, but it's not me.
Ah, okay. It maybe isn't. Guys, if you can just make sure you're muted unless you're actually speaking, please, because it does make it much easier. All right, Greg, I think we've muted everybody else now. So tell me, how are you today? What's your day been like?
Nothing special happened. Just typical day. Spending time in the city center, trying to find a new job, and they told me that 50 miles, and I
Oh,
heard. So
oh, Greg, that sounds like a pretty bad day to me. And you can also chat to other students or comment, etc., just like Facebook. And the Verbling teacher page is the second of those two links there. You can go ahead and have a look at the teacher pages if you want to find out a little bit more about one of the teachers. So who we are, when our classes are. If you're interested in attending any more classes with a particular teacher, then you can find them there on the Verbling teacher page. And you can also have a look at the calendar if you want to get onto Verbling for private tutoring, one-on-one sessions with the teacher. Have a look at the teacher page to find their calendar. If you have any questions at all, do feel free to get in touch with us via the messaging feature, which is also there, accessible via the second link in the chat box. So, let's say hi. Who do we have to talk about right and wrong? First of all, Sergio. Hello.
Hello, Em. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Excellent. It's great to meet you. Where are you from, Sergio?
I'm from Brazil.
All right. Which part of Brazil?
I live in Rio.
You live in Rio. Okay. And why are you studying English?
I've been studying English for business, for traveling, for... Yes, I love...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Verbling class. My name is Amy. And today's class is a speaking class for intermediate to advanced learners. So if you'd like to come in and practice your speaking, today our topic is right and wrong. So what we're going to be talking about is what we think about this. Is there such thing as right and wrong? Some of the questions that we're going to be looking at include what is your opinion about right or wrong? We're going to look at some quotes. Have you changed your opinion about this since you were a child? What were you taught when you were a child, and what do you believe now? So it's going to be an interesting topic to challenge your English, but also to maybe help you learn some new vocab, to stretch your grammar a little bit. So come along to practice your speaking. I'll help you and correct you, and hopefully you can make a little bit of progress with your speaking today. So, before we get started, I just want to tell you about two pages that you can look at in your spare time here on Verbling. The first one is the Verbling Teacher Facebook page. If you'd like to follow any of the teachers on Facebook, then you can just go ahead to their Facebook pages and click on follow, as you do with Facebook pages in general. And you'll see that the teachers share their classes, various things that go on Verbling, maybe some useful things that they come across.
yeah, I know. But this is not the first time what I had for the last couple of weeks, so I think I try to accustomize in some ways.
Get used to it. You're trying to get used to it.
Get used to it.
Oh, well, good luck with that. I know it's so just tough finding a job sometimes. Remind me, are you in Poland? Where are you? No, you're in Hull.
Yes, I'm in Hull right now.
That's right. Oh, good luck, Greg. Good luck. What kind of job are you looking for?
I was working in the factory, so I'm thinking that we'll get stuck in the factory, but to be honest, I don't know if it makes sense, because right now there's a couple of days to have a chance, you know, to enroll on IELTS preparation test. So they told me 3 months, it will be okay. I will make from this what I call English, and which I use and speak, and maybe I will go higher to academic English. And I'm thinking, oh my god, 3 months, quite unrealistic.
Well, you never know. If you work hard, you can achieve a lot. So yeah. All right. Well, it sounds like you've got some kind of a plan, which is great. So
Yeah.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Welcome to the class. Carolina, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?